See what happens. Okay, so I had this science teacher in ninth grade high school where I thought he was a pretty good teacher. I liked him. And everybody told me that he was an absolute creep. And it turns out they were right. Now, this guy's name is Mr. 괘ᴇᴅᴏ. I'll just go ahead and tell you because this whole episode's about Mr. 괘ᴇᴅᴏ. Now, I've told this story on the show before to some degree, but a big update happened, and then I fell down a rabbit hole that made it feel like this was a topic worth exploring a little bit further. You see, my science teacher had an incredibly dark secret. A horrifying, terrible, terrible thing. By the way, welcome to the Henchmen. The Henchmen are here as well. Hi, Henchmen.
Hey. Hi, Jesse.
Hi. So, now you guys might remember I've told this story, this Mr. 괘ᴇᴅᴏ guy, where he made all the kids real uncomfortable because he couldn't look at them. And in fact, somebody tweeted a clip yesterday of me talking about this guy where now this is a quote from like a hypothetical scenario. You see, Mr. 괘ᴇᴅᴏ had this problem where he couldn't look down at the kids, so he'd look up into the air like this as he was giving his science lectures. It was earth science. I liked him. It was a pretty good class, but I had this clip out there where I was Mr. 괘ᴇᴅᴏ, and I was going, stupid sexy kids, can't look at the stupid sexy kids. And I very vehemently asked people not to clip that when I did that the first time. So when I tell this story this time, and also just then when I gave you that example, please do not clip that out of context of me saying that, because that can make me look really bad. And people are already very concerned about the fact that I have something called a pizza club. I didn't even know I had something called that, but apparently I do. Anyway, the point is, Mr. 괘ᴇᴅᴏ, okay? Let me give you a little bit of a rundown of my story in high school. I was in honors science class, okay? And for the first 9 weeks of my ninth grade time at high school, I was in this honors science class. And I had this different teacher, not Mr. 괘ᴇᴅᴏ. Different guy. His name was actually Mr. Powell. No relation. Please do not clip this out of context. Anyway, this guy's name was Mr. Powell. And Mr. Powell was a freak. I mean, an open freak. He was a little... Number one, something I've noticed is a lot of predator types, a lot of paranormal. You catch my drift? A lot of these guys tend to be short. I actually think that the cure to paranormal guys, to predators, isn't a bullet. It's height surgery. I literally think it might be a thing where they're just like, well, I don't know, they look my same age. I'm this tall. So Mr. 괘ᴇᴅᴏ was, a normal sized man. I think over 6 feet. But this Mr. Powell guy, he was my first science teacher. And in class, he literally, all the kids said, he's got this coffee. He never lets go of it. And it smells like vodka. It smelled so strong. He's drinking in class. I swear to God, one time he came up with a science experiment that gave him the excuse to smoke cigarettes in class. And the science experiment, I believe, I might be misremembering this, I believe the science experiment was, how many cigarettes can Mr. Powell smoke before someone finds out? Don't tell the principal. And on top of all of that, Mr. Powell was constantly hitting on all of the girls in the class. Well, one day it all kind of came to blows. At the end of the 9 weeks, I had made an enemy of Mr. Powell. All the other kids, this is an honors class, and all these other kids are sort of goody two-shoes. So while they're upset that he's doing these things, none of them are willing to say anything about it. They're not going to call him out. Me, not so much. So I'd made enemies, and now Mr. Powell, even though I was doing fine in the class, I understood everything, science was sort of my subject, he was trying to fail me in the class, which isn't good. This was the first semester, and it all came to a head at a parent-teacher meeting where the parents came, mom and dad came to the school, everybody's parents are coming, they're meeting all the teachers, and we have this moment inside with the science teacher, Mr. Powell, where I had to say, hey, I don't deserve these bad grades. It's not my fault you're smoking and drinking in the classroom, which I am saying openly, not only in front of my parents, but in front of the entire faculty of the school. And of course, he loses it. I swear to God, there was a moment where I thought he was going to lunge at me, but luckily I was about a foot taller than the man, so I wasn't really scared at all of him. And then it truly nearly came to blows when I pointed out that he was getting a little too handsy with a lot of the females in the class, and one in particular who I name checked. The blood boiled, the rage inside him, and you could tell the principal, the guidance counselor, all the people in charge knew. They kind of knew. Like with P. Diddy, they all knew. So if you start calling this stuff out, the whole thing could collapse, because guess what? It's all of them. Turns out every single teacher you had in school was probably one of these. In fact, when I think back to high school and I think about the number of teachers that we had that everyone accused of being P words, the words you're not allowed to say, the one word, the P word is somehow worse than the N word on YouTube. I don't know what it is about YouTube. They really hate this one particular word, but these paranormal guys, every teacher got accused of this at my high school. I swear to God. To the point, I had 2 science teachers. I knew a history teacher hit on one of my girlfriends. I had a theater teacher who was, ooh boy, people started saying stuff when he was trying to find new ways to do theater. He was trying to do some Shakespearean era, what if I dress up as the lady type stuff with some of these girls. Oh, it's okay that I'm in the dressing room with you guys. That kind of level of stuff. There were some good teachers, but we even had the elusive, the worst type of predatory teacher that there had ever been. A hot, young, blonde teacher who seemed like she was ready and willing and able. I'm not joking. I feel like if I had just initiated slightly, made the tiniest move, I'm pretty sure I could have been brutally assaulted sexually by this teacher, and I would never have gotten over it. My hands would be so raw from high-fiving for the rest. It would have been one of the worst, most terrible scenarios of my life. Because again, just to be clear, the teacher I'm talking about did not look like this. Okay, it was a lady. So I had this lecherous, treacherous Mr. Powell teacher, and in order to try to sweep it all under the rug, my principal made an astute decision. They decided that they would move me out of his class. Literally, class schedules back then, especially with the way my school worked, the different periods and everything worked, it was pretty tough sometimes. Like if you're locked in, you're kind of locked into a schedule. There's probably not another class you can just switch out to without fucking up all of your electives and everything else. So they found one science class that I could switch over to. They'd transition everything. They'd just give me the A. I just got a free ride on that first one. Even if I probably did deserve it, but even if I didn't, they were just giving it to me as long as we just left Mr. Powell alone. And then I said bye-bye to all the smart kids and ended up in Mr. ᴘᴇᴅᴏ's remedial retard class where I probably belonged. Suddenly I felt way more at home once I was in his class. Now, I liked this guy. We got to make bottle rockets. We watched October Sky. We made these little science experiments that seemed more like arts and crafts, really, when you really add it all up. Kind of seems like we weren't really doing science so much. But, hey, I got to shoot a Coke bottle into the sky. It almost became a missile and took out some kid's eyeball. That was fun. And every other kid in the class, these remedials.
I have autism. I can't help it.
They might have been, quote unquote, dumber than me, but they had the eyes to see what I did not. And again, speaking of eyes, Mr. ᴘᴇᴅᴏ in front of every class all the time. I mean, this was the word on the street. This is what every single student said about Mr. ᴘᴇᴅᴏ. He's a complete creep. There's just something off about him. They just don't like him. And despite the way I come off on the internet, I'm the kind of guy who tries to give a guy a second chance. I'm the kind of guy who gives the benefit of the doubt. And Mr. ᴘᴇᴅᴏ was nice. Mr. ᴘᴇᴅᴏ had fun lessons. Mr. ᴘᴇᴅᴏ was just kind of a nerd. And of course he was. It was science class. So when he's sitting there with his eyes staring straight up into the back of his skull, I guess trying to figure out if he still even has a brain or not, I wrote it off. And when he talked in this high-pitched, creepy voice like he was nervous in front of the class of children, because again, just to be clear, to be a teacher, all you have to be is slightly smarter than a child. Those are the main requirements of being a teacher. Sometimes they will just take a teacher of one subject who knows nothing about another and move him over to that subject. And that's good enough. You probably still know more than the remedial kids. So a lot of these remedial kids were telling me, Jesse, Mr. ᴘᴇᴅᴏ weird. Oh, he weird. Now, take nothing about the way I'm saying that, the accent I'm using. But this was the remedial class. Oh, he weird. And I just wrote this off as a cultural misunderstanding. He's just a nerd. And so it turns out they were right. They were really, really, really right. In fact, let's take a look at how right they were.
New at 11, a former Chesterfield teacher and coach is facing 30 years in prison for producing child pornography. David ᴘᴇᴅᴏ was a science teacher at James River High School. Police say the victim was his relative. Back in May, an employee at the school found an explicit photo in a book that ᴘᴇ�ᴏ owns, and that's when police got involved. Court documents show the incidents happened from 2006 to 2011.
Now, in fairness to me, that's after I had graduated. So I guess what I'm saying is technically we're both right. But at a certain point, them remedial kids, they were on the ball. They were on the nose. They figured it out. When he's looking up at the sky going, oh, stupid, sexy kids, stupid, sexy kids. Do not clip that. If you clip it, you have to include this part where I tell you not to clip it. Otherwise, we can no longer be friends. The point is, they kind of detected something that I just didn't pick up. Now, this was a few years back, okay? He got arrested, I think it was 6 years ago now, and he was sentenced to 7 years. Now, I don't know if he's actually been let out yet, but it's very possible. A lot of times these guys get let out pretty early. For some reason, this just isn't such a crime, which is probably why you're not allowed to talk about it on YouTube, which is why we aren't talking about it on YouTube. But there's the possibility that he is out right now. And if not, he will be out next year. Now, I've always been hung up on the fact that this was a relative of his, but I never heard any more info about this. In fact, you can't find it. There is no more news story beyond he got 7 years. The trail runs cold. His info has been wiped off of those white pages, Google listings for people's info. When you try to look him up, you find his dad. He's junior. His dad was senior. Nice namesake, buddy. That must be a nice one. So you can't figure out where this story's going beyond that. You can't find out any more information. Who is the relative? Well, a year ago, I got tired of not knowing. I don't know why. I guess maybe I talked about it on the show or something. It came up and I decided to do some digging. And what I found floored me. I've been sitting on this story now for over a year, and it is horrifying because not only did I uncover something that has led me to a theory about his entire situation that makes what he did, let me be clear, what Mr. ᴘᴇᴅᴏ did, is maybe one of the most fucked up things of all time. But the theory I've developed about it makes it so much worse. And I also managed to find evidence that could have put him away potentially before they actually got him. There had been sitting online, publicly open for the entire world to see. You heard the story. They found photos in a book. Dumbest way to get busted ever, possibly. He had shit out there that you can go see right now online. And if you just took a little extra second, you could have found it too. I'm going to show you what they missed. I'm going to show you what the authorities missed, what the teachers missed, what the students missed, and what his family missed in just a second. But again, we can't talk about this on YouTube, so we're going to do this in the Pizza Fund, PODAWFUL.pizza. That's our custom-built website where we can do anything. I'm banned on YouTube all the time. Episodes and episodes and episodes of this show are not allowed on YouTube, technically, and this one will be no exception because we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of all of these horrifying details. So join the Pizza Fund, subscribe today, get immediate access to this episode and all of our premium episodes, all of our after shows, our bonus content, and so much more. PODAWFUL.pizza.
Support the show. Join the Pizza Fund. PODAWFUL.pizza.
Pizza.
PODAWFUL.pizza.
Hey, henchman, any of you ever have a little handsy of a teacher? You ever run into something like that before? Am I the only one who went to a school of nothing but P words?
My theater teacher got arrested for fucking a student.
Yeah, there's something about theater teachers.
There's like three at my school that got arrested in like a 2-month span.
Yeah.
The gym teacher.
All
it's
right.
always
All right,
the gym teacher.
Yeah, we got to talk about the gym. Let's talk about all of these in just a second. But we got a show to do. So join the Pizza Fund, PODAWFUL.pizza. Get this entire episode. This is the Pedo Files 14. And this is Pod Awful.
Online.
Ew.
Yeah. That was a horrifying one. I could have just used the one from the last episode. I didn't have to change. The last one was Dick Masterson going, it's not a crime to... I'm not even going to say what he said. Jesus Christ. Anyway, welcome everybody to Pod Awful. I'm your host, Jesse P.S. Happy to be here. Welcome to the program, and again, welcome to the Henchman. We're going to talk about all of these things and much, much more, but let's get to know this story just a little bit deeper before we jump in the Pizza Fund here. Okay, here's another story. Now, this story, I just found this one. This one goes into it a little bit more detail than the video I just played or the article that I was checking out before does.
The 54-year-old will be sentenced in May.
Okay, so here is, let me throw that back up there actually, so we got him nice and fresh on screen. Come on, 꽞ᴍᴏ, where are you? Ooh, horrifying. There we go, Mr. 꽘ᴍᴏ. So this is my hometown. Chesterfield police, teacher arrested for making child P word. I'm not allowed to say this. We're not in the pizza. This is why we got to go in the pizza fund for this one. It's so annoying. I mean, what do I care? I'm not even monetized on YouTube right now. Like, I'm probably not going to bother monetizing again this time. I should just say it, but they might kick me off if I do. We don't need that. All right. Chesterfield police have arrested and charged a teacher who they say SA'd. I can't do this. I can't read these YouTube terms, these TikTok terms where people are like, he unalived. No more. We're not doing this anymore. I'm looking at the rest of these sentences. I can't say any of these terms. Here's what I'll do. My favorite part of this is they interviewed kids from the school. Okay. And then we'll get into who the family member was, the horrific rabbit hole, and the insane thing I found on his YouTube account. All right. Speaking of YouTube, for some reason, me talking about a guy who is under arrest in prison, committed this crime, they would call this cyberbullying and harassment. No joke. I've been banned from YouTube and had videos taken down enough times to know that you got to walk a fine line here. So they interviewed kids from the school to get their reaction on Mr. 꽘ᴍᴏ being arrested. Here's some of this shows you that Mr. 꽘ᴍᴏ never stopped teaching the remedial kids. All right, check this out. Here's one from student Brandon Jones. He says, I mean, it's messed up. A teacher here with a whole lot of students, to hear that happening, it's kind of hitting too close, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, that sucks, I guess. Or whatever. Whatevs. Anyway, Skibbity Toilet. This is actually from so many years ago. This child is now an adult man. He's probably got kids. Here, Alexis says, I wasn't expecting my teacher to be I can't say this word, a retard, or take pictures of little kids or nothing. Oh, sorry. These are remedial. I've been reading these in the wrong accent that you're not supposed to take anything away from when I start using it. I wasn't expecting my teacher to be a rapist or take pictures of little kids or nothing. Here's one from Jessica. She says, I definitely think he should not be around kids if he's charged with those kinds of charges. Wow.
Wow, really?
Flaming hot take.
Woo! Very good, Jessica. Wow. Okay.
All the girls wear capes.
A+ for this semester, Jessica. You pass. All right.
You know what? I don't think you should let that guy back in here.
Yeah. Something tells me that, you know what? Maybe he shouldn't even have a family anymore, just in case. We were all thinking it, right? Should he be allowed around his family still after this? Would the person that they're talking about, because again, they said it's a family member, whoever he did this to, they said it was a family member. Would they still be in his life at this point? Didn't the video we watched said it took place between, what was it? 2011, 2005 and 2011. And then he was arrested. This was May of 2017. Arrested May of 2017. And then I don't think he was fully charged and everything until 2018. I don't think he got that. Again, he dodged a 30-year sentence and then wound up with a 7-year sentence. And I have a feeling he might have already gotten out. I wish there was a way to look this up. If somebody knows how to do that, please do. Find out for me. Okay, we're going to jump in the Pizza Fund now. Thank everybody on YouTube. And join the Pizza Fund, PODAWFUL.pizza. It's pinned in the tab, the pin tab on YouTube. And we'll see you over there. Let me get that going live. And okay, updated in the Pizza Fund on YouTube. There we go. Check it out. Pizza Fund. There we are. We're live in the Pizza Fund now. Go check it out. PODAWFUL.pizza. See ya.
Sorry, nigga.
I'm Tom Gully, and you're watching Is This Live, the show
This content right here
on the PodAWFUL TV network.
is Pizza Fun's own.
PodAWFUL.pizza.
This shit is beefer. You're listening to Howdy Do with J. Crew.
PodAWFUL.pizza.
We got shooters in these streets.
Nigga.
By the way, I saw World Wide Web Wizard in chat said, "Oh, I got to update to see that." World Wide Web Wizard, you are one of these paranormal guys. Isn't that the guy? There was like, it was, we'll talk about, all right, we'll be right back. Am I crazy? Wasn't he?
Yeah, we have his penis posted in here.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll check out his penis in just a moment as well.
Just give it a look.
We'll just give it a skibbity toilet.